So here we are on the eve of another NFL campaign. What better way to kick it off than, hey, let's have a top 10 quarterback list of all time. Here's my top 10 quarterbacks list. Number 10, Dan Marino. Marino was the purest passer of football of his era, and his numbers back it up. The best example of his greatness is his 1984 season. Marino was the most influential quarterback of his era, and that's saying something since he never won a Super Bowl and he only reached the big game one time. Number 9, Jim Kelly. When looking at Jim Kelly as a power passer, you have to keep in mind that he had to fight the wind and elements of Buffalo. Kelly had one of the best deep balls in the league, and it is said that he could throw with ease in any situation. He never won a Super Bowl, but he's the only player to reach the big game 4 years in a row. Number 8, Ben Roethlisberger. With his career now fully in the books, it's safe to say that Ben Roethlisberger stacks up well against some of the best quarterbacks of all time. True to his nickname, Big Ben Roethlisberger was tall and strong, and he had a great game. He helped the Steelers win 2 Super Bowls and was a 6-time Pro Bowler. Roethlisberger was also Offensive Rookie of the Year, going 13-0 as a starter during his rookie campaign. That set the tone for a great career, which included 25 game-winning drives and a record 4 games in which he passed for over 500 yards. Number 7, John Elway. Elway will always be remembered for winning 2 consecutive championships and then going home. He decided to retire while on top of the world, a respectable decision, but surely he could have continued to play at an extraordinary level for a couple of more years. In addition to being a fantastic thrower, Elway had an uncanny ability to run the football as well, recording over 3,400 rushing yards and 33 touchdowns. Elway's versatility made him a completely unpredictable player, and that was one of the reasons for his successful career, and not to mention who will ever forget the drive. Number 6, Roger Staubach. Staubach is one of the best examples of a quarterback whose resume is somewhat incomplete. He attended the Naval Academy and served in Vietnam, meaning he didn't join the Cowboys until 1969, which was 5 years after the Cowboys had drafted him. But even in a somewhat abbreviated career, Staubach led the Cowboys to 2 Super Bowl championships, was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He also was the first quarterback to earn the nickname Captain Comeback because his ability to step up in the fourth quarter, leading the Cowboys to 23 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter during his 11 seasons in the league. Number 5, Troy Aikman. As a leader of the Cowboys dynasty of the 90s, Troy Aikman needs to be among the top quarterbacks ever. In addition to leading the Cowboys to 3 Super Bowl wins, Aikman was one of the elite quarterbacks of the 1990s, going to 6 straight Pro Bowls during the early part of his career. Not many quarterbacks can claim that. Unfortunately, injuries got the better of him and it cut his career short. But during his prime, Aikman proved that he was just as good as any other quarterback of his generation. Number 4, Peyton Manning. If he could have won more playoff games and maybe 1 or 2 more Super Bowls, especially since the defense won the second one for him, Peyton Manning could have been a stronger argument for being on the top of this list for the greatest quarterbacks ever. No quarterback in NFL history showcased Manning's intellectual mastery of the game. It was truly a thing of beauty to watch, and you had to see it to appreciate it. Manning will be one of the best of all time. Number 3, Terry Bradshaw. Younger football fans probably think of Terry Bradshaw as the loudmouth talking head on Fox NFL Sunday, but he was also a great quarterback. In his day, he was a crucial complement to the Steelers' steel curtain defense of the 1970s. Bradshaw did everything he needed to do with an arm that was powerful but occasionally erratic. He stepped it up when it counted. Bradshaw always played his best in the big game. He led the Steelers to 4 Super Bowl titles, becoming the first quarterback to win 3 and then 4 Super Bowls in his career, and was named MVP of the game twice. He's definitely more than a talking head on Fox NFL Sunday. Not to mention, he was my hero growing up. Number 2, Tom Brady. He may not be the most talented quarterback to ever play the game, but there should be no question Tom Brady is one of the best. Even if you don't like him because he would constantly beat your team, he was the architect of the dynasty of the New England Patriots in the 2000s. Even if you don't like him, you have to respect him. The goal of football is to win games, and Brady did that better than anyone, winning 7 Super Bowl titles during his career. More importantly, his team occasionally won because of him, which is why he was Super Bowl MVP 5 times and league MVP on 3 different occasions. However, due to some of the controversies he's had in his career, it's hard for me to put him at number 1 on my list, even though I respect him. Number 1, Joe Montana. Montana is a great example of a quarterback who got the most out of his talent and abilities by being the smartest and most clutch quarterback in the history of the game. He was the main catalyst of the 49ers becoming a dynasty in the 1980s with 4 Super Bowl wins. Toward the end of that dynasty, Montana won back-to-back MVP awards. In fact, his 1989 season remains one of the best single-season performances of any NFL player. Keep in mind that he was Super Bowl MVP in 3 of San Francisco's 4 Super Bowl wins while he was quarterback. Montana always seemed to save his best and biggest moments for the big game. If you had one game that you had to win and you had one drive that you had to have, what better quarterback to have than Joe Cool? In closing, I know I left some great QBs off this list. It's hard to pick a top 10 out of so many great quarterbacks in NFL history. I hope I didn't make too many people angry with it. Let me know what your top 10 list is in the comments below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe as I'm growing the channel. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.